Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Invincible Iron Man issue 4 2022. Yeah. And this is a nice cover because Tony does get kind of banged up and he does fight Fei Long. And I love it when that happens. Now granted, it doesn't get to this kind of situation where it seems like everybody and their grandmother are like recording it and that Tony looks like the bad guy. But we do get that fight going on, and it's definitely an interesting one. I like this issue because there's action and character development and plot development. Because I didn't know that much about Fei Long, and that's important because we start off here. And he's talking about, like, once upon a time on a terraformed Mars, the gods clashed. Talking about Avengers 2013 issue 3. I remember that one. And the Fei Long's talking about how instead of holding on to that prize and continuing to make it a green world, they let it die on the vine. And that before humanity could go and claim the world, the mutants stole it. So it's like, really? They were able to go out there and do shit with it, man. Like, you could have had the time to do it. And he's like, everything I'd worked my entire life for snatched away because of the small-mindedness of Tony Stark and his friends. If you were so great-minded, you would have gotten there before them. Honestly. Seriously, with all the stuff that you could probably do. Talking about defueling the rockets and returning them to storage was the worst day in his life, and today will be one of the best. I'm Fei Long. I am humanity's antidote to post-human fascism we live under. And it's like, sweet Jesus, man. Like, I understand the different kind of power dynamics with the mutants in Krakoa and the mutant nation and everything like that, and I'm like, really? Okay, yeah, asshole. Then we switched to Tony pretty much talking about, like, the worst days of his life, like when his parents died, or he got the shrapnel, or, like, the whole thing with his Iron Man technology, and it's never a good day to tangle with Dr. Doom in Latveria, but on this morning, the hair on the back of my neck was standing up, and by night, I'd have a new pony in my worst day derby. My previously unnamed enemy told me to come out swinging at the bells. When you use that phrase with a CEO, you know you're in for a fight at one of the most beautiful and evil places on earth, New York Stock Exchange. And then we pretty much see that Fei Long is pretty much gloating. That's why humanity can depend on Nimrod, Dr. Stasis, and everyone at Orchis. And it's like, I don't kind of want that. Even though he's his way of using pretty much corporate speak and just hurling jabs at Tony is just insane. Have you overseen his predecessor's company and employing the technology to better protect humanity's interest? Tony, I'm glad you received my message. We're going to have fun. And then Tony's like, yeah, all the people you killed, they're going to be avenged. As he fucking, like, rings the bell using a freaking Iron Man thing to be like, congrats to the new owner of Stark Unlimited. Throw your gauntlets in the air. It's like, oh, sweet good God. And he's like, I have a lot to celebrate. It's like, screw you, man. And of course, he's then talking to the press, being like, yeah, Tony laid down the gauntlet by, like, going away. He's going to grab the reins and restore it to glory. Didn't make his intentions clear because he didn't want speculators driving up the stock price. It's like, it's fucking right. But if Stark still wanted to chart a course in the future, he would simply stop me, and he's right over there. And Tony's just like, you fucker. Like, that look, I love the art because I get that look. It totally screams like, oh, only the bravest try hostile takeovers on Stark companies, and he's not wrong. And then Fei Long's like, true, yeah, that's true, I think. And then he's like, Obadiah Stane, dead. Justin Hammer, dead. Justine Hammer, dead, or at least dead to me. It's a dangerous job. Hell, it even almost killed me once. And then Fei Long's like, basically like, oh, God damn it. And then one dude's like, you ever consider fighting for the pink sheets? And then someone's like, yeah. It's like, Fei Long's like, you wouldn't stand a chance. We won't be doing that. And he's like, maybe we will. Let's step outside. Maybe you'll be scared of having the shortest tenure as Stark CEO in history. It's like, Tony knows how to push his buttons and pretty much get him into like a face-saving kind of mode. I'm like, mm-hmm. And then he's like, I didn't think he'd actually follow me, but he did. That's when I realized I don't know enough about the man. Just a Wikipedia entry. And I'm like, hey, you and me both, Tony. I like learning this stuff. And by the end of this, he actually becomes enough of a threat and kind of a rival nemesis that I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that we're kind of building Fei Long into another kind of one that works within Tony's wheelhouse as a villain. And then, of course, he's trying to let him do all the talking so he can learn some more. And, of course, talking about don't obsess over losing the company. It's the way of the world when you're old. It's like, I love when people say that shit and never even suspect that they will get old one day and are surprised, Pikachu face, shocked Pikachu, when some other asshole just like them comes and fucking, like, kneecaps their ass. And Tony's like, I don't give a shit. You killed people. Just fucking quit this shit now. Make restitution or prepare for war. The war's over, Tony. You lost. It's like, you obviously haven't fought Iron Man before. I mean, he wiped his brain to protect people when Norman was coming after his ass. He'll do some shit, man. And then, of course, he's like, shouldn't you be fighting Toad and Blob up on Mars? I don't know who they are because I'm not old. It's like, you're supposed to be this, like, asshole against mutants and you don't know them? Tony's like, touche. What do you even want with Stark Unlimited? I want to make it great again. It's like, then why don't you do your own shit? He's, of course, talking about, why do you even care? You walked away. I see, the X-Men's Fantasy Island was too tough for you to take down. So now you're switching lanes because you think it's easier. As he's laughing and saying that, like, no, they're already defeated and we couldn't have done it without them. That's a party for another day. It's like, no, I think that the X-Men and mutants pretty much have stymied him into such a position that his shit can't really work out well. Now, granted, I'm not that well versed with what's going on with the X-Men right now, though granted I look up every now and then to see kind of what's going on. And of course, Tony's talking about him being overconfident, smart. He'd mentioned abandonment, maybe he's got daddy issues, and then he fucking hits that button like a motherfucker. It's like, you know what the difference between us is? What? I might not like the, you might, I might not like the answer, but I know where my old man is. And then he fucking, like, mouth blasts his ass. I'm like, how the fuck can he do that? Like, there's a lot of stuff this dude does that I don't know how he does. Granted, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be able to do that, but I'm like, god damn. He's able to do a lot of shit without any armor or whatnot, which I'm like, god damn. And then Tony's like, daddy issues? Check. And of course, he's like, I should have known myself better than that. Well played, Stark. That was almost an unforced error. How to make lemonade, I suppose. As he then is like playing to the crowd, gather round. If you want to see the distant past and the bright future spar, like Jesus. My suit is a state-of-the-art armor with unparalleled shields, and that blast you saw is a very special defensive weapon. Bull, like that is the biggest load of bullshit. Trying to peddle on that. I'd be stupid to let you play me for some public relations. On the other hand, you murdered my friend. And he tries to blast him with a repulsor. He's like, is that the best you can do? No. And then he fucking hits a fire hydrant and blasts him with water. I'm like, thank you, Tony. That's the smart move. You legitimately are very smart, yet you don't seem to understand how angry you made me. You shed innocent blood to get to me. I don't have a lot of friends, and you took one. And it's like, yeah, and here's the thing. Tony's angry, but he's in that calm, angry kind of phase where you don't really want to fuck with someone like that. So he kind of blasts him with water, blasts him with rockets, and then is pulling out a fucking parking meter to whack his ass. You were abandoned, orphaned by your parents, and that is what you learned. And that is what you learned, to quit and walk away. And then, of course, he's talking about, like, I cast my parents out, they were holding me back. My offer is simple: fight for humanity, fight for your company, fight for your legacy. If it's the company you care for, you can earn it back, negotiate a scenario. He wants, like, a new technological Cold War to benefit humanity. And that's his offer to him. It's like, what? Technological Cold War? What the fuck? I say, let's stress test those unparalleled shields, shall we? And then he just fucking smacks his ass. It's like, yeah. And I like when he's like talking to himself. He's like, I don't know Fei Long, but I know he wants to be the man in the tower deciding what happens below. The guy who thought he was going to be Earth's first real off-worlder. And then, of course, he's talking about how it's a problem that he ever got so far. He was looking in the clouds, the invading frost giants and celestials. He had to do it, but he's pissed that he put the business on autopilot. It's like, yes, Coney, thank you for understanding that this was a bad error. I mean, granted, those were important things, but this needs to be dealt with. He's like, relax, I got you. Taking him from a bus, and then goes, whoops. The team just gets him so well. And then we see that he got smacked into the bowl. And then Tony's just like playing to the crowd. Did you record that or do you need another take? Don't worry, these are non-lethal rounds. Usually, as we see that his shield is pretty much getting shredded by him. And then he essentially almost does a fucking spirit bomb with his repulsor blasters. And that, I like Dragon Ball. This was a fucking nice one. I'm like, thank you. That's cool. And he's like, this has been fun, but I have work to do. And he fucking like blasts him to pretty much turn off all the tech in an area. It took years and a fortune. And if you've read this far, you know that I had both, but I figured out a way to reset every electronic device inside a certain radius. It allowed me to deliver terms in private. And I'm like, that's Tony for you. Of course, Fei Long's impressed. He's got a few surprises up armored sleeves you don't know about yet, as he then pretty much grabs him by the throat. I get it. You had your heart broken. The mutant stole Mars from you, and you want your pound of flesh. You're mad at me for some delusion that I held Mars. But I'll be damned if I let you use my creations to hurt anyone. Even Stain and Hammer were smart enough to leave the few friends and family I have out of this business. Yeah. They might have went after certain kind of people, but they never went to this kind of level. And of course, Fei Long's like, what are you trying to accomplish? Every day I try and save lives, and right now I'm trying to save your life. Says that he should confess, and he's like, that's not a great offer. Let me counter. To join me, as he's getting ready to punch him. And Tony's like, no, this is your last chance to surrender, as he then pretty much breaks his hand. He's like, shit. He's like, well, hopefully you can avoid surgery, but if you can't, I understand. Stark Unlimited health plan is stellar. I trusted Zhong Wei to institute it. And that is a nice little dig. It's like, yeah, the man you killed, you're going to get your hand fixed because of shit he did. He's like, whether you're still alive at the end, that's up to you. And I don't think that could come off as cold, but Tony's just showing the reserve that he's got. He is going to stop this motherfucker, and if he's got to put him in the ground, that's what he's going to do. And then we see him blasting off Fei Long, being like, oh, you don't know what you've done. Perhaps this, Tony, I think perhaps you're the one that I've been waiting for. Ha, finally, I have a worthy nemesis. And he's just laughing like a maniacal idiot. It's like, damn. This is definitely going to be an interesting one to fight, because I liked... now, granted, I know about Obadiah Stane, Justin Hammer, all that. I do need to collect those and read those at some point. But I liked Ezekiel Stane. I liked how Tony would fight the Mandarin and and Norman Osborn and all the various kind of ones that he's fought over the years. And this, I think, is a nice one to bring over from the X-Men and do this for. And of course, he's talking about doing it the hard way, afterburners, before he can do something he regrets. And then we get to She-Hulk, pretty much calling him to be like, you got to call her back. We got some C&Ds from the new owner of your old company about the technology in the Iron Man suit. And she's like, you think you might need an intellectual property specialist. She's more of a litigator, and hopes that he gets the message, as we see that he pretty much blasts off into space to kind of get some thinking. And he's like talking about how he wants a drink that never stops. And I do like when that's brought up occasionally, because it's a thing he has to constantly deal with. And when he can't, when I can't get to a meeting after a tough day, he comes up here to the edge of space, turns the thrusters off, and listens to his heartbeat for a while, which is nice. It's like, I understand that with that kind of meditative kind of quality, to kind of like get into the zone, and it's cool to kind of see him do that, know that he's alive, feels like a reset button, and that it's the fastest way to travel halfway across the planet. Okay, back to work. And the thing is, he's doing it as a reset, but he's also going to somebody. And we see at the end that he's going to Krakoa. They have a bunch of rules, and most of its citizens are horny, but one thing I know, mutants don't love uninvited guests. And then, of course, we see that Armor's like talking about there's a bogey coming in, and Emma's like, no, it's okay, darling, just stand down. She's been expecting this guest. In fact, he's quite delinquent. Isn't that right, Anthony? Is the enemy of my enemies, my friend Miss Frost? And it's like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good one to go to get some more information on Fei Long, the understandings of how he can deal with him, get some understandings of his motivations, and how to kind of stop this because his tech could be used to go after the mutants, and Tony doesn't like that to be used to go after anybody. He hates the misuse of his technology, but of course it's good that he understands that Fei Long is a threat, and a threat to him, and a threat to everybody, and that he needs to go to the people that have been dealing with him the longest to understand and learn and figure out some other kind of strategies to go with. So I like this because it's very hard to balance exposition without making it too plot dumpy and action going on. But I really think this issue did that because we understand that Fei Long has mad fucking anger issues against the mutants. He's pretty much a human supremacist and is going to use Tony's technology and company for evil shit against mutants. And that he has soared that, and they got to Mars before him. It's like, at this point, a lot of people got to Mars before you. You know what I mean? Like, even trying to, like, be like, I'm going to be the first human on the off-world. It's like, not really, man. Not really. Not even on Mars. I mean, the fucking Avengers got there before you. And then the mutants were able to get up there and actually set up a civilization. So I kind of get it, but to get yourself into such a tizzy and be such an asshole that you fucking kill other people that aren't even fucking tied to it. Like Tony's neighbors and his friend. Fuck you, man. So I really want to see how Tony on the back foot is going to be able to take this dude on, because this is where the interesting situations come out, and this is where Tony can usually get into his element and figure out weird, funky kind of ways to get through things, innovate his armor in probably weirder, stranger ways to kind of deal with what tech this asshole can come up with. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to see where we go next. So, those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.